Gina, and I am here in sunny Medford, Massachusetts. It may be a little cool, but that's okay. We're warm inside. So it is a gift to be here with all of you. What a wonderful blessing it is to be here in person and live wherever you are. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday service with CSL Greater Boston. And just so you know, we are a teaching of the science of mind. And what we do is we combine religion, philosophy, and science for this amazing teaching and practice that allows us to be the divine, to remember who and whose we are, and to celebrate it. So as we come together in person and exactly where you are within this oneness, we know all is well and getting better. So let's celebrate this Sunday. And the topic for this week, I absolutely love, and it's something that I've grappled with, and I do say grapple with, for a very long time. It is surrender is action. And it is so important to remember that there is more to it than what I can do myself. This month we're talking about the journey of becoming. So we've spent this year becoming, in the becoming of, and what a year it's been, right? And, as we go into the new year, there's new beginnings to be held and to behold. And when we think about surrender as action, it's an amazing gift to let go and let spirit have the little stuff. And, we're going to talk about that today in a wonderful way, to realize that in surrender, there's freedom. So what a gift it is to be here to celebrate truth. And we're going to begin with a song that I absolutely love. It's actually my alarm clock song in the morning. And it is the morning surrender song by Karen Drucker.
Will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
I absolutely love that song. It's just so comforting to me to begin my day remembering it's not just, I'm not doing this alone. What a gift. What a gift. And speaking of gifts, our practitioner, Barbara Epstein, is going to be doing our invocation this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Please take a nice deep breath and settle in and know how blessed we are to have a power that is greater than we are, that we can use. That power is omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, everywhere at the same time, and omnipotent, all-powerful. We are, each of us, capable of joining our thoughts with that energy, that power, and that power wants to give us our highest good. We can have that which we desire, and really all we need to do in those moments of stress and doubt and trouble is to let go and let God. Let God serve us and feed us, guide us to what will lead us out of that place where we are unsure, and give us the strength to know that everything that we desire is at our fingertips. We are clearly able to have that. I am looking so forward to hearing Gina's talk because all of her talks are so powerful. And this one, as she said, she starts her day with this song, and I am sure that this talk will just be perfect. And with that, I'd just like to say with everybody, and so it is.
Thank you, Barbara. And now we have our beautiful Maria doing our spiritual reading for today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, today's talk is about surrender. And what does it mean to surrender? And I thought, for some of us, it might bring up images of the white flag, despair, desperateness, doom. But I've come to understand that surrender is actually a very powerful spiritual practice. And to trust that flow and that power within me, accepting that. And we're going to hear about that today. Ernest Holmes had a lot to say about surrender, and I always refer to the Science of Mind book. And on page 405, he talks about surrender, and he says, the soul must make a complete surrender of itself to spirit. The law must come under the subjection to the spirit. The will of spirit is peace, clear thinking, and happiness. It could have no other will. Again, on page 222, he says, you cannot heal anyone of his or her troubles if it is a result of some mental attitude which he or she will not surrender. And he goes on to say, as we come to surrender all littleness and all fear and doubt, the great river of life flowing through the mind of God will renew our vigor, remake our strength, ennoble our being, heal our bodies, and bring peace to our hearts. And he has a lot more, obviously. One, I just wanted to read very quickly, one of my favorite spiritual teachers is Matt Kahn, and I refer to him a lot. And he actually talks about the 5 stages of surrender in this book. And I just wanted to read a little bit about what he has to say about that as an introduction. While the ego remains tortured by the necessity of surrendering control to the silent and often unexplainable hands of fate, the ups and downs of our journey exist as the soul's most exciting and rewarding course of mastery. The reason why the ego cannot ever successfully surrender is because it is the very thing being surrendered. While the ego works towards surrendering, often viewing the universe through a lens of reward and punishment, the closest it can get is admitting, I don't know how. When I don't know can be embraced, it signifies a readiness for the deeper path of spiritual evolution. It's much like the energy of a relay runner who senses the baton they carry is meant to be handed over to the next runner as they complete their leg of the race. It's a giving up and a letting go. Admitting that we don't know is the ultimate release. When this is experienced from the ego's point of view, it can often feel like guilt, shame, depression, or a sense of worthlessness. While the ego views the unknown as a great loss or void, the soul experiences each moment of unsuspecting change as the end of the old and the beginning of something new. When we are aligned with the soul, we don't have to be excited about the prospects of devastation, loss, or not knowing in order to remain open to the fate of infinite potential. From the soul's point of view, people, places, and things are costumes that Source wears, only playing the exact role to help our light come out of hiding. When lost in ego, life is a stressful pursuit of seeking pleasure to avoid the burden of pain. As this occurs, each character is judged by the actions that have been orchestrated on a level of reality beyond the notion of individual choice. Whether in the aftermath of loss or at the brink of personal despair, a readiness to surrender occurs through moments of I don't know. It doesn't mean we walk around refusing to understand, shirking our responsibilities, or pushing away the pearls of insight that come to us. It is more an ease of serenity in which we can be honest about our pain while remaining open to a process that goes far beyond beliefs of fairness or right and wrong.
And so it is.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Mia. And this song that I'm going to be playing, I encourage you to really listen to the words and just feel them. Allow yourself to just be held.
Hold it all together, everybody needs you strong. But life hits you out of nowhere and barely leaves you holding on. And when you're tired of fighting, chained by your control, there's freedom in surrender. Lay it down and let it go. So when you're on your knees and answers seem so far away, you're not alone. Stop holding on and just be held. Your world's not falling apart, it's falling into place. I'm on the throne. Stop holding on and just be held. Just be held. Just be held. Your eyes are on a storm, you wonder if I love you still. But If your eyes are on the cross, you know I always have and I always will. That not a tear is wasted. In time you'll understand. I'm painting beauty with the ashes. Your life is in my hands. So when you're on your knees and answers seem so far away, you're not alone. Stop holding on and just be held. Your world's not falling apart, it's falling into place. I'm on the throne. Stop holding on and just be held. Just be held. Just be held. Lift your hands, lift your eyes. In the storm is where you'll find me. And where you are, I'll hold your heart. I'll hold your heart. Come to me, find your rest in the arms of the God who won't let go. So when you're on your knees and answers seem so far away, you're not alone. Stop holding on and just be held. Your world's not falling apart, it's falling into place. I'm on the throne. Stop holding on and just be held. Just be held. Just be held. Just be held. Just be held.
So just be held. Being right here, right now, in this beautiful moment, this beautiful space. What a gift it is to be here. You know, there's so much power in that word surrender. And I wasn't raised with that. I wasn't raised with that understanding of what it meant. I always subconsciously thought of surrender, like you said, as the white flag, but also I thought of it as, it was weakness to me. To say I couldn't do something felt like weakness. I wasn't raised to ask myself if I could. I just did. So it wasn't a matter of if there were things to be done, I just did them. And unfortunately, it was at my expense a lot of the time. So I didn't think about, well, if other people can do them, maybe they should. But if someone asked me, then I did all that I could. And it's not that we don't want to help people, but if you're raised to be a people pleaser and you're raised to be a caretaker, somewhere along the line, what doesn't get taken care of is me. You know, there's a lot of, when you look at the world today, there's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of people suffering. Now, there is pain. Everybody's life has pain. It's going to happen. In those moments of pain, we get a choice of how long they last. See, suffering is staying stuck in it. Sometimes it's consciously, sometimes it's not. My mom, after my sister transitioned, could not let herself feel that love again. She couldn't allow herself to live and be happy. She couldn't let herself. She didn't think she belonged here anymore. So there was a personal choice to stay stuck. Not necessarily all consciously, but it was what she was taught. She was raised with this knowing that a piece of her is gone and that's it. And yes, her life was different, but she couldn't allow herself. She didn't want to. It was as if she let that pain go, and then she let my sister go. It's not the same. But I couldn't convince her of that, and it wasn't my job, but I kept trying. There's so much in life that we get a choice. Do I carry this burden? Do I hold on to this pain, this anger, this frustration? It could have been something major that happened in childhood that, we never forgave. It could be something that I always felt less than because something happened. When the truth was, it wasn't me at all. I was a child. How could I have known differently? There's so many things in life that we feel guilt, we feel shame, we feel all kinds of stuff. Surrendering gives us that opportunity to just be held. There is a divine power that absolutely loves us. Now, whether or not I'm allowing it is up to me. So we know prosperity is all there is. The ocean is it's not a glass of water. It's millions. There's not one star in the sky. There's billions beyond our conception. So the universe only knows abundance. So why is it that there's times that we experience scarcity? If you want light and you have a lamp, but you haven't plugged it in, you will not have light. So are we plugging into our source? Now we get choices. If I want it my way, my way, my way, and I'm holding on to that control, it doesn't work both ways. Fear and faith aren't in the same place at the same time. I love this quote by Carolyn Miss. Said, I'll tell you what's crazy. Holding on to pain and trauma that should long ago have been healed or released. Maintaining patterns of stress that only serve to break down your health. Continuing behavioral patterns that are fundamentally destructive. That's crazy. Surrendering your problems in faith to the divine is not crazy. It's cosmic liberation. So set your soul free. Pray like you have nothing to lose except your fear. How much power is in that? You have nothing to lose but your fear. And that takes practice. It's not an instant thing. Or there wouldn't be addiction. When you look at life right now, how many people are, in our society of bigger, better, faster, more, there's always a breaking point. And I believe everybody has something. Everybody has something they do too much. Whether there's different compulsions. For me, it's my whole life. It's been a struggle with food. For other people, I in my family there was drugs, there were alcohol. I've known, there's people that have it's spending, shopping, gambling, sex. There's a million different things. It's even online. How many people do we know that spend 5 to 10 hours a day with their phone or their tablet or their whatever, even at work, constantly checking the latest updates of something, or the sales, or the emails, or the everything. That connection to the internet, not each other. My daughters, and this was 10, 15 years ago, would sit there and text each other from the backseat of the car. They're next to each other, and they were texting each other. And this was 15 years ago. So now it's even worse. So we have to ask ourselves, the surrendering is a practice. But it first takes to be still and know. You have to have that willingness. See, faith is a funny thing. We say we have it, we think we have it, but in the moment of holding on or giving it over, my will with the ego or the highest possible, where am I? We've had a lot, the center's rebirth since we've reemerged has been such a gift to me. Every one of you is a gift to me. And it's a gift to be here with you. And I'm realizing in doing this that there's been times that I'm trying to hold on too tight. Like, it's not, I don't need to micromanage God. He's got this. My fear is simply me trying to think that he doesn't. So it's looking at it in a different way and knowing what's mine to do and doing it. When it's not a flow, it's a force. So what am I doing? Is it flowing or is it a force? I love this. In this one, it says, this is from A. Huga. When we surrender to God, we change the flow of intention and energy behind our actions. We do not act from fear of loss or poverty, but from a place of trust in God. The concept of surrender is beautifully described in Taoism as Wu Wei, meaning do without doing. When we surrender to God, we are like a grain of sand surrendering to become the mountain, or a drop of rain surrendering to become the ocean. How much power is in that? And for those of you at home, if you're on your phone, you can always take a screenshot. But I'm going to be posting these this week because there's a lot of fabulous quotes from all different people that have done work around this. It takes work. Imagine it takes work to let go, to do less, to be free. It takes work. Who'd have thought? You have to peel the onion to get to that freedom. But you know, it doesn't have to, because faith in itself is a release. I can't, spirit can't, I think I'll let him. You know, I often remind myself in prayer as I'm doing a treatment, I'll say, today I'm keeping my hands and feet inside the boat, inside that little cart that I'm driving on. And I think of myself in an amusing cart, right? You know, I'm going to keep my hands and my feet in the cart and just go with the flow. And life is easier when I remind myself of that. Ernest Holmes said, science of mind proclaims the spiritual nature of humankind. It removes fear by introducing love. It places us in the mind of God as some part of the eternal wholeness. It gives shelter to our souls. It satisfies the natural hunger of our intellect for the larger life. It surrenders in decision to divine guidance. Human fear for spiritual faith. Now, where does the power seem there? In my fear or in my faith? And, you know, it's not, because that can be another thing that I feel guilty about. Oh, I'm not trusting God again. So now I feel guilty and start that over again. It's simply reminding myself that if I am not, and I say it all the time, and I know some people do, but the rumble strip. If I'm not in a good mood, I'm going away from center. Those emotions tell us, how am I doing? What's going on? One of the things I realized this week is not only is it that we have a lot going on, but the chaos of telling myself I have a lot going on. I don't believe I'm given what I can't handle. I truly, you know, in general, I don't think that that's the case. When I prayerfully ask, is this mine to do? And I know it's mine to do, that means Spirit's going to take me through it. It's just that simple. Whatever corner of life that is, whether that's in our family, whether that's at work, whether that's in our personal life, whatever it is, if Spirit brought me to it, it's going to bring me through it. But when I get caught up and it's so hard and I don't know how I'm going to, and then there's this and what about that, and I can get so distracted from my faith that's where I waste my energy. So it's so important to remember to bring us back to the center and truth. In the Science of Mind 365, Ernest says we should awake to the living presence of the eternal God within each one of us and enter into a realization of a new peace and joy as we come to surrender all littleness and all fear and doubt. That great river of life flowing from the mind of God will renew our vigor, remake our strength, ennoble our being, heal our bodies, and bring peace to our hearts. So we get clear directions. That's the thing that gets me, is I get clear directions again and again, but am I following them? You know, we have this thing called an ego, you know, and I love the acronym edging God out, because that's really what the ego does. It says, I can handle this. That big I can handle this. And I spent my whole life with that. I can do that. I can do that. And I can do that. But I can't do it all at once. And I can't do it all well. And I forgot that part of it. I would just, I would volunteer or be volunteered, one or the other. And I would just try to do whatever. And that's how if you were happy, then I was happy because I found my work there. But even more than that, there wasn't a question of what are my needs? What's going on in my life? Is it mine to do? Because when you enable someone, they'll keep letting you take care of whatever it is. Is it mine to do? Because by not having my daughter, do her own dinners, she doesn't know how to cook. She almost set the house on fire by putting a pizza box in the oven. Well, you put it in the microwave. The irony is she went on to be a DM for Domino's after that. God help us. But then, you talk about irony. But the truth is, I wasn't helping her. I wasn't home and I was doing all kinds of crazy things. I had a business, I had a full-time job, I had all kinds of activities. And yet I thought it was my job to do everything. No one ever told me that. But there was this part of me, because I wasn't home as much, that if I didn't do these things, then I wasn't the right mother, I wasn't the right wife, I wasn't good enough. All these stories that we tell ourselves, this is the ego talking. You are born enough. You think of any baby that you know. All it needs to do is coo, laugh, smile, and then even when it poops, we don't get mad at it. It can do whatever it wants, and we love it. Why do we think as we got older that's still not the case? Our divine parent loves us as much on the day we're born till the day we're reborn. There is so much help available to us. Because you have to be still and know. Divine inspiration comes through people. So we need to be still and know. In Seat of the Soul, Gary Zukav says, take your hands off the steering wheel. Be able to say to the universe, thy will be done. And know with your intentions. Just know it. Spend time and thought. Consider what it means to say, thy will be done. And allow your life to go into the hands of the universe completely. The final piece of reaching for authentic power is releasing your own to a higher form of wisdom. So to let go of what I think I know, the stories that I tell myself, it's letting go of those stories for the bigger. I love in the song where it says sometimes things have to fall apart to be put back together just the right way. So our greatest seeming failures take us exactly where we're supposed to be. Any tear, any pain, any heartbreak, anything we experience, we now have greater compassion for the people in our lives. We can help other people through it. There's good in anything. And, when we say, and I demand to see it, right? It's so, and that's who? Mary Baker Eddy that said that? There's good here, and I demand to see it. We get to decide these things, and we can choose to remember that we are spiritual beings in a human body. It's a choice. Because out there in the world, they do not tell you that. It's not about how are you feeling today. It's not about your experience of life. It's about what are you getting done. And we're never going to get it all done because you wouldn't be here anymore. So what is important and what is it that you choose to do and look at and be? We have a very simple process when we think about the way things work. There's a law of attraction. We're very good at law, right? There's a very specific way. There's the love, which is spirit, which is, that allness of the universe, God, whatever you may call that love, that allness. And then it's how it works, right? That's the two parts. There's that oneness, that allness of life. And then there's how it works. So we give it the order, and then it carries it out. We create the mold, and then it fills it. So if my mold is, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, no external help is coming to me. The law is not allowed in. I am not allowing that highest and best to come my way because I've got this. I have to have this. And the hands are on the steering wheel of life, and I think I've got to have this. I've got to be in control. But what does that even mean? What is it even for? You know, there's a time and a place that we need to do the next right thing, yes. But we are human beings first. There is tremendous strength in the word surrender. True faith is an action. That's what this is all about. The title of this is Surrender is Action. It's a conscious choice to be in the flow of spirit. To let the law be the law today. Isn't that a novel concept? You know, if I handed you that genie's lamp and I said, make your wishes, infinite amounts. But if you went and you said, is it really working? Is it really working? Is it really working? And you dug up the seed, you get nothing. When we don't let the law do what it does, that's what we're doing. We're micromanaging God. And I spent a lot of my life doing that unconsciously, believing I had faith, but acting in other ways. And you know, the beauty of that, even in the resistance, Spirit loves me. Just waiting to hold me. Spirit is always just waiting to hold and love me. Just as we want to think of our even adult children when they have a hard time with something. When they're little, we can grab them and hold them and try to make it better. But sometimes as adults, when they're still trying to put the square peg in the round hole and you know it doesn't fit because you've done it 100 times, and you try to tell them that as adults we know nothing. Your parents always know nothing. It's just the way that it works. But all you want to do is hug them and tell them it's going to be okay. Our divine parent, our divine allness is always there to hold us, to love us through anything, always. So just be held. Go into that presence this week. It is a busy time of year. There's a lot that's happening. Be that. In that faith, just be in the beingness of allowing spirit. Let go of the resistance. Let go of the struggle. And when something's not working, I'll say, okay, what do I need to do? What's this about? You know, a car that meets resistance in the snow or the mud, if it keeps spinning its wheels, what happens? It goes deeper in the snow and in the mud, right? And you know, it's this one. Eckhart Tolle said, if you were stuck in the mud somewhere, you wouldn't say, okay, I resign myself to being stuck in the mud. Resignation is not surrender. You don't need to accept an undesirable, unpleasant life situation, nor do you need to deceive yourself and say that there's nothing wrong with being stuck in the mud. No. You recognize fully that you want to get out of it. You then narrow your attention down to the present moment without mentally labeling it in any way. This means that there's no judgment of the now. Therefore, there is no resistance, no emotional negativity. You accept the isness of this moment. Then you take action and do all you can to get out of the mud. So we don't have to stay stuck. And we don't have to call it something it's not. We don't have to look at it and say, all is well when we're not okay. But we need to know that it's okay to not feel okay. To center into that faith and do the next right thing without judgment. Then all is well. So, on that note, this week, really spend that time, really be in that place. And our closing song that we're going to play in just a few minutes is actually What Would Love Do Now? And that's spirit. So you can go back to that place and just be held. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not get to everything. It's okay to be frustrated. We are still someone's child. We are a divine child of the most brilliant power. And in our seeming weakness is where we find our greatest strength. Because when I'm quiet enough to listen, I get the answers. So it's in that remembering that we find our power. So I thank you for being here. And as we go through this season, let's remind each other, when there's too much to do, that it's too much to do. Let's be in the place of reminding ourselves to be present and not take it too seriously. Let the flow of life keep our hands and feet in the ride, and let the law be the doer. Letting it be easy. Letting life be easy. Let go of that struggle. There's no need. So, in the magic and the mystery of that, we're going to move on to our affirmation. The affirmation that goes with this is I lay all burdens on the altar of divine love. So, if you could say that with me, I lay all burdens on the altar of divine love. And we'll just be there together in that place of release. And we've got a lot going on. And before we get to announcements, we're going to do our sacred giving. If you have been blessed here today, know that we are here because of the generosity of all that happens, and I'm grateful for it. So let's do our sacred affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And these are some ways that we circulate. So they are always available in our newsletter as well as on our Facebook page. So feel free to sign up for that newsletter whenever you can. Go to our CSL boston.org, which is beautifully designed. Thank you, Chris. And we can, we can have that newsletter go right to you, and you never have to miss a thing. So thank you for that. And I want to just remind us that we are now global. Sunday evenings, our service is global at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, but available at that time wherever you are in the world. You find your time accordingly. So if you are watching this through New Thought Media Network, thank you for being here. Welcome to our community. We love that you're here. Let us know. And we have some beautiful things going on. We have fellowship right after service. You can join us. You can, if on your phone, you can do a screenshot for the meeting ID code. But we always have fellowship right after service. We have visioning on Mondays at noon. We come together to see the highest and the grandest vision that Spirit has for us. We know that there's power when we come together. And the very important announcement, next week, we are only going to be virtual. So we are not going to be live. Unfortunately, they've got some major Christmas festivities happening here. So we are only virtual. We're not in person next week. But we will be live at 10 a.m. on Facebook, and we will still be at 5 p.m. on New Thought Media Network. And so for those of you that are watching virtually, it won't affect you. Just people that are here in person, they'll make me miss you that much more for the following week. So just remember that. And, it's been such a gift to be here, and we thank you. There's so much good in this community. I'm so blessed to be a part of it. And the flow and the unfoldment, we just let it be easy. We know that we are blessed. And I know that this blessing is meant for you. So thank you for being here with us, each one, with an open heart and all of my love. I'm going to close with a affirmative prayer. We also call it treatment. So taking a breath, and in this moment, knowing that there is only one power, one presence, one love, one life, a mission omnipresent and opulent, knowing that this oneness is right where I am, that there is nowhere that spirit is not, that I am that light, love, harmony, joy, that each one that is watching, that is in attendance, is that harmony and peace, abundance, affluence, beauty. Each one is that I am presence. And right here and right now, I claim it. I claim that knowing of that power. I fully accept everything that divine is right here and right now. My heart is open. My mind is one in this oneness. That perfect wisdom and allness guides, guards, and governs everything that I say and do this week. I know that each one receives the blessings and remembers that there is strength and freedom and surrender. So letting go of any seeming worries, problems, anger, resentment, letting go of any seeming struggle or pain, and allowing that greater love, that greater unfoldment, absolute joy, wholeness, and perfection. What a gift to be in this harmonious space, this love, this peace. And to know that that infinite power is my source. And that I can resource anytime I choose. And I remember to do it again and again and again. I listen. And I let go. And I let God. And in that knowing, I give thanks. I give thanks, letting the law be the doer, letting it be easy. I celebrate it. And filled with gratitude and joyful anticipation, I say amen and blessed be. And together we say, and so it is. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for celebrating life itself in the letting go of the lesser for that divine grace. So the final song, again, is What Would Love Do Now by Eddie Watkins Jr. So what would love do now? We'll see you next week.
Just before you say something you can't take away, take a breath, then let it out. Try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. whether right or wrong. Doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what will love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we die for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what will love do? Sing it from inside with me, y'all. What will love do now? Let me hear you sing it, people.
What would love do now?
Sing it one more time for me, y'all.